Did you know that over 80% of people over the age of 50 regret at least one major life decision? That's right. According to recent studies, the majority of adults in their later years wish they had done things differently when it came to relationships, career, health, or personal fulfillment. It's a sobering thought, and one that might make you pause and reflect on your own journey. The good news? You still have time. The second half of life can be the most powerful, purposeful, and deeply meaningful chapter if you avoid the common mistakes that lead to regret. As we explore life after 50, one truth becomes clear. This is not the end of the road, it's a new beginning. But far too often, people drift into their later years without intention or reflection. In this video, we're diving into the 5 biggest mistakes people make after 50, mistakes that quietly sabotage health, happiness, and legacy. Whether you're already past that milestone or approaching it, recognizing these pitfalls can help you rewrite your story and build a wiser, richer life. Turning 50 can be a jarring experience. Suddenly, the future feels shorter, and every choice seems heavier. You begin to notice changes, physical, emotional, financial. Perhaps your children have moved out, or your career is slowing down. Maybe you've already retired. These transitions bring new freedom, but also unfamiliar uncertainty. It's easy to make choices that feel comfortable in the short term, but harmful in the long run. One challenge is health. Many over 50 ignore warning signs or delay preventative care. Another is financial planning. People underestimate how long they'll live or how much they'll need. Social circles can shrink, leading to loneliness. Purpose can feel elusive. The mistake isn't aging, it's drifting. Without intentional choices, decades can pass in quiet frustration. Let's dive into the 5 biggest mistakes that people make after turning 50. The first is neglecting your health. Not in the obvious ways like eating poorly or avoiding exercise, though those matter. But in subtler forms, refusing to get regular screenings, ignoring chronic stress, or not prioritizing sleep. Health after 50 is cumulative. It reflects decades of decisions, but it's also incredibly responsive. Even small changes now can yield major improvements in energy, clarity, and mobility. Take, for instance, someone who spent their early years putting work before wellness. At 52, they start walking daily and eating better, not just to lose weight, but to feel alive again. Within a year, their energy surges, their sleep improves, and their relationships deepen. It's never too late to invest in your body. It's your vessel for the rest of this journey. Second is failing to redefine purpose. Many people over 50 tie their identity to work or parenting. When those roles shift or end, they feel lost. Purpose must evolve, whether it's mentoring, creating, volunteering, or learning. Your contribution doesn't retire when you do. People who remain connected to a sense of mission are healthier, happier, and live longer. Consider this. A woman retires from teaching after 30 years. Initially, she feels aimless, but then she starts tutoring kids in her community center. A guy rediscovers her love for education, and now twice a week she lights up with joy. Her students thrive, and so does she. Purpose is not a job, it's a direction. Third, avoiding emotional reflection. After 50, unresolved regrets, old wounds, and unspoken grief can bubble up. Some suppress them, others drown them out with busyness or distraction. But the wiser path is to face them. Therapy, journaling, or deep conversations can lead to emotional clarity. This isn't about dwelling in the past, but releasing it, making peace and finding wisdom in your story. Take the man who never spoke of his father's early death. At 60, he finally shares his grief with a close friend and writes a letter to his younger self. That act of vulnerability changes everything. He stops holding back in life. Emotional courage, especially later in life, unlocks freedom. Fourth, letting relationships wither. Friendships can fade, family ties can strain. But human connection is not optional, it's essential. Investing in relationships after 50 requires intention. That might mean calling an old friend, joining a group, or having uncomfortable but healing talks with loved ones. Isolation is one of the most dangerous conditions of aging. Connection is the antidote. Studies show that people with strong social bonds live longer, recover faster from illness, and experience less depression. A woman in her 70s who started a weekly book club now says it's the highlight of her life. Relationships don't need to be many, they need to be meaningful. And finally, the fifth mistake, postponing joy. Many think, when I retire fully, or when the grandkids grow up, or when I have more money. But postponing joy is a slow form of self-abandonment. Life is now, not later. Find what delights you: gardening, music, travel, painting, dancing, and make it part of your daily rhythm. Joy isn't frivolous, it's fuel for resilience. One man picked up the saxophone again at 68. He plays in a community band now and says it makes him feel 30 again. Joy brings lightness even in hardship. It reconnects you to the wonder of being alive. Of these five, the one that causes the most silent suffering is the failure to redefine purpose. Without a sense of meaning, even a healthy, wealthy life can feel hollow. Purpose is the compass that guides your energy, choices, and spirit. So how do you rediscover it? Start with curiosity. What makes you feel alive? What did you love as a child that you forgot as an adult? Who do you want to help? Purpose after 50 often hides in places you've overlooked, in mentorship, in creativity, in service. Explore, experiment. Don't wait to be inspired. Act, and inspiration will follow. To recap, here are the 5 biggest mistakes to avoid after 50. Neglecting your health, failing to redefine purpose, avoiding emotional reflection, letting relationships wither, and postponing joy. Each one chips away at well-being in its own way, but each can be reversed. The choices you make now can write the most powerful chapter of your life yet. If any of this resonated with you, share your story in the comments. What lessons have you learned after 50? And what changes are you ready to make? If you're looking for practical ways to thrive in your next chapter, check out our next video on finding meaning through small daily rituals. Let's keep growing together.